So you guys really seem to enjoy my videos on different calibers and what makes them awesome. So we're going to do another one. We're going to talk about the 6.5 Creedmoor today. To the whiteboard of knowledge. So there's a lot of... Because you got to remember, with calibers, it's always a trade-off. You don't gain without giving something up. Or at least not with our current powder technology. That may change in the future. We may get some sort of new accelerant where you can gain without giving something up. But as of right now, in order to pick something up, you have to give something away. So the main reason why people like the 6.5 Creedmoor is the BC. What that stands for is ballistic coefficiency. What that means is the aerodynamics of the bullet. So when you're going from, say, a 308 to a 6.5, see how much skinnier the bullet is? Much more aerodynamic. For an example, if you were to pick 153 grain 6.5 Creedmoor, or I should just say 153 grain 6.5 bullet, you are looking at a BC of 0.694. That's freaking amazing! Comparably, 155 grain 308 bullet, you're looking at a BC of 0.478. You see the difference there with the same grain bullets? How much easier it is to achieve a nice BC out of a 6.5 over a 308. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about the 177 or the 175s and the 168s? Here, I'll roll the BCs of those right here. Remember, compare that to 0.694. Pretty big difference, isn't there? The next positive to the 6.5 Creedmoor is it's got medium recoil. Now, because it's lobbing the same projectile, or the projectiles at the same velocity as a 308, it's pretty easy to figure out. You're looking at about 17% less recoil over a 308. It's nothing really to shake a stick at, but, you know, it's nice. A little bit less recoil. Who doesn't want less recoil? The next positive. We all know a bullet acts differently flying faster than 2,200 feet per second. When it's flying and it hits an organic target faster than 2,200 feet per second, because of the way it moves through there, it expands us out to a point where we cannot recover from it, and that huge cavity becomes a permanent cavity, where when it's moving slower than 2,200 feet per second, it can't move the material out of the way fast enough to where that's not a permanent wound cavity. We'll recover from it. So then you have to get a direct hit on your target, the vital organs. Or if it's moving faster than 2,200 feet per second, close is usually close enough. It holds 2,200 feet per second. You know, different bullets give you different results, all the way out to 400 yards. A 308, you know, different bullets give you different results. On average, holds it out to 300 yards. So you get an extra 100 yards of 2,200 feet per second over your 308 cartridge. Next positive, barrel sensitivity. It's not sensitive at all with barrel length. Chopping off 11 inches, going from a 27 inch to a 16 inch, you only lose 100 feet per second. That's great, which actually plays into the next positive about the rifle. So why does it matter? I mean, we're just talking about a bolt gun. I could have a 30 inch barrel. Well, it fits in an AR-10 magazine. Semi-automatic. Well, what's awesome about a semi-automatic? When you can go shorter than 20 inches and still get excellent performance. There you go. There it is right there. You can go all the way down to a 16-inch barrel in your semi-automatic AR-10, and you're only going to be 100 feet per second short over a bolt gun with a 27-inch barrel. That's incredible. Next positive, it's relatively popular. You have at least a 50-50 shot of going into a gun shop and finding the ammunition on the shelf. So if you go out-of-state hunting and you forget your ammo at home, because you're in one of those states where the ammo can't be stored in the same container as a firearm, which happens, I've made this mistake myself, you have at least a 50-50 shot of going into a place and being able to find 6.5 Creedmoor on the shelf, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, it's not nearly as popular as a 308. Like, you can go anywhere and get a 308. 6.5, most places got 6.5 Creedmoor. More rigid barrel. So what do I mean by that? Going with the same diameter barrel. One's in a 308, one's in a 6.5 Creedmoor. Everything completely identical. The 6.5 Creedmoor is going to give you a more rigid barrel. because the hole through the center is skinnier. So there's more material on the outside of the bullet, giving you extra rigidity, which typically, not always, but typically translates into a little bit better accuracy. Now let's get into the red. What are the downsides to the 6.5 Creedmoor? Because remember, everything's a trade-off. The first downside is you should have went with a Remington 260. You dropped the ball and you didn't do your research. There is a positive with the 6.5 Creedmoor over the Remington 260. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a cut-down 308. So there is no possible way I can accidentally put a 308 in my 6.5 Creedmoor and send this home, and because the bore would be too small for the bullet to pass down it, it would explode. Now the Remington 260, see, the 6.5 Creedmoor has a shorter shoulder. So no matter what, this will not fit inside a 6.5 Creedmoor chamber. A Remington 260 is just a different neck size. So I can take a 308, and if I were to drive the bolt home, the bullet would compress inside the casing, and because the shoulder will still fit with a Remington 260, I could drop the hammer on that and blow my gun apart. Because yes, I can force a 308 bullet, or a 308 cartridge, inside of a Remington 260, but the bullet will not pass down the bore, so your gun explodes. With 6.5 Creedmoor, that can't happen. The shoulder's different. You got a different length shoulder. There's no way to get this inside of a 6.5 Creedmoor chamber, which is a nice advantage. The disadvantage to not choosing a Remington 260 is case capacity. The Remington 260 is the exact same thing as a 6.5 Creedmoor, but instead of a cut-down 308 case, you get a full-length 308 case. So you're going to have more capacity, so you can tune your bullets more, you can get them up to higher velocities. Now, the 6.5 Creedmoor, they compensate for that by running higher pressures, about 2,000 PSI more, but you can run that same pressure in a Remington 260 and walk circles around this 6.5 Creedmoor. So you'll be able to run a heavier bullet with a higher BC at the same velocity or better, or you can take the same bullet and shoot it at a higher velocity. The point is, unless you have a bunch of semi-auto 308s that you're worried about mixing up the ammunition, it's dumb to go with a 6.5 Creedmoor over a Remington 260. If you're building your rifle. Now, if you were to just grab a Remington 260 out of your grandpa's gun cabinet, it's not going to have a fast enough twist for those really high BC bullets. But if you're building it, it don't matter because you can throw whatever the hell barrel you want on there. You can run a 1.7 twist if you want. So there's no advantage with going with a 6.5 Creedmoor over Remington 260 except for the safety side of things. So if I already got a bunch of 308s, and it's very possible somehow I might grab my Remington 260 mag, which will fit right inside my 308, and I accidentally take my 308 mag and put it inside my Remington 260, my gun will explode. Now if that was a 6.5 Creedmoor, I'd just be sitting there trying to figure out why I can't get the bolt to close. So other than that one safety advantage, it's all disadvantages when you're comparing Remington 260 against the 6.5 Creedmoor. The next disadvantage, barrel life. Everybody seems to agree you get slightly over 2,000 rounds down the barrel and it's got to be replaced. About 2,100. Everybody's got a slightly different opinion, but if you take the average of all of it, it comes to about 2,100. Compared to a 308, that's about 1/3 the life that a 308 will offer. This moves up to the 6,000 rounds. Now that's on match grade barrels. Obviously, if you run it till a 308 is just not even stabilizing the bullet, it's going to go much, much farther than that. But compare, 6,000 to 2,000. That's a huge difference. And on a semi-auto platform, especially if you're reloading your ammo so you can afford to shoot it, 2,000 goes by pretty quick. I'm over 2,000 on my SCAR. So if that was a 6.5 Creedmoor SCAR, I would already have to replace the barrel. Next downside, bullet weight. Now this is a personal opinion here. Okay, does everybody get that? Personal opinion. I feel very strongly, if I'm out of my 2,200 feet per second zone, I want a projectile that's at least 150 grains. Or higher than 150 grains. So 150 or higher. Yes, you can barely get into that with the 6.5 Creedmoor, but I would like more because it gives you momentum. So when I'm hitting a target and I don't have 2,200 feet per second, I need to ensure I have enough momentum still to be able to go through the hide, the ribs, and into the vitals. Momentum, it comes from bullet weight. You just don't get it with your lighter bullets. Next downside, price. 6.5 Creedmoor, 308. Yeah, that doesn't look like a big difference right there, but that slowly adds up. So out of these positives and not so positives, what would I use the 6.5 Creedmoor for? I would put it up against 308 out to 400 yards, because if they were like, hey, you got to make a 350 yard shot or a 400 yard shot on some sort of game, without a doubt, I'd go 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, past 400 yards, after both projectiles are moving slower than 2,200 feet per second, I would go back to 308, like 175 grain, 180 grain, something like that, something that's got enough momentum to ensure I'm going to get decent penetration. Now, that's with the caveat, you have to be able to hit what you're shooting at in order for that to even matter. The 6.5 Creedmoor, because it's got a better BC, it's going to have less wind drift, it's going to have less elevation drop. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're a novice shooter, you have a better likelihood of hitting what you're shooting at with a 6.5 Creedmoor at those ranges over a 308. Now, if you know what you're doing with a 308, you get the added momentum. Now, obviously past 400 yards, if I can, I'm going to go with something heavier. That's when I'm going to go into my 300 Win Mag. But if I don't have that option, would I shoot at living creatures past 400 yards with a 6.5 Creedmoor? No, not if I got the option. Now, it is great just hitting paper, because you can get the same kind of ranges out of the 6.5 Creedmoor as you can get out of a 300 Win Mag, but you're sacrificing all your momentum, all your kinetic energy. So if I'm going to be shooting past 400 yards and I have a choice, I would go 300 Win Mag. Now, if I'm shooting at paper, almost definitely I'll shoot 6.5 Creedmoor until that bad boy goes subsonic. Now, if I don't have a choice, say I'm limited by weight, capacity, maybe I want the option for rapid fire, 6.5 Creedmoor is the way to go. So would I purchase this projectile or set up a rifle built in this projectile if it hits what I'm looking for? Am I going to be within 400 yards? If I'm going past 400 yards, am I just going to be shooting at paper? Can the 308 fill that role? Basically, am I going to be shooting it less enough to where the barrel life isn't going to matter? These are all things you got to consider. But anyway, if you'd like to check out, say, my 308 video, link will be right up there. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, even if you don't buy what the link is for, just clicking on that and doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, I get a little kickback for it because you went there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.